My girlfriend said, "You're poor and jealous." I replied, "I'd rather be poor with integrity." Then I collected every email, sent it to HR, watched her lose the job she chose over us, and waited to see what she would say when the consequences finally hit, and she turned up at my door in tears. Welcome back to AF Tales. In today's story, we explore a man whose girlfriend calls him jealous and poor to defend late-night work with her boss, only to watch her whole career collapse when the truth comes out. As you listen, notice the exact moment where you think he should have walked away. My name is Daniel. I am 29 and I work as a network security analyst for a mid-sized tech company in Denver. The job is not flashy, but it is stable. I have a decent one-bedroom in Capitol Hill, an older Honda Civic, some savings, and the kind of life where I can go out on weekends without checking my account first. I met Veronica 2 years ago at a mutual friend's barbecue in June. She was a marketing coordinator at a boutique firm downtown. She was ambitious, quick with a joke, and had a laugh that made people turn their heads. We clicked fast. Within 3 months we were official. Within 6, she moved in with me when her lease ended. It made sense at the time, both emotionally and financially. Life was good. We cooked on weekends. She made a great carbonara. We watched trashy reality shows and joked about adopting a golden retriever one day. We had already chosen a name for him, Baxter. She complained about her boss sometimes, a guy named Gregory, but it sounded like normal work talk. Demanding, a little condescending, but he recognized her talent. Nothing that set off alarms. About 4 months ago, in late August, she got promoted to a senior role. More responsibility, more pay, and a lot more face time with Gregory, who she said was grooming her for management. She was over the moon. We celebrated at a steakhouse downtown and she laid out her plans and goals. I was proud of her. Then the late nights started. At first it was a text here and there. Working late tonight, do not wait up. Or Gregory wants to go over the campaign, might be home around 10. It sounded like what happens when you move up a level, and I remembered my own first months in security. Long days, overtime, proving yourself. Then 10 became 11. 11 slid into midnight. One Friday in late September, she came home at 2:30 in the morning. I was still on the couch, TV on mute, waiting. I had tried calling around midnight. She did not pick up. She just texted back that she was in a meeting and would call soon. She never did. When she finally walked in, she looked flushed. Her hair was a little messy and she smelled like wine and a strong cologne that was not hers. "Hey," I said, standing up. "You okay?" "Yeah, I am fine," she said quickly, kicking off her heels and almost stumbling. "Just a long night. Gregory wanted to celebrate closing the Denali account, so we grabbed drinks with the team until late." She laughed, but it sounded forced. She mentioned a rooftop bar and said time had just flown by, then she walked past me toward the bedroom. "I am exhausted. I am going to shower and crash." I nodded. I did not push. A lot of people stop here, bury that first uncomfortable feeling and tell themselves it is just work. The next morning over coffee, I asked casually who all had been there. She listed a couple of names without looking up from her phone. When I asked what they talked about, she said work stuff, campaign metrics, boring. I pointed out that they must have been talking for hours. She finally looked up, irritated, and asked if she was being interrogated. Then she poured her coffee down the sink and left for a yoga class without saying goodbye. Over the next weeks, the pattern settled in. Late nights 2, 3, even 4 times a week. Tuesday until 11, Thursday until midnight. Saturday at the office for a few hours that turned into her getting home at 9 at night. Whenever I asked, she gave short, vague answers. No stories, no details, nothing to pull me in. Our conversations shrank to logistics. Did you pay the electric bill? Can you grab milk? I will be late tonight. We stopped cooking together. She was always too tired, too busy, too stressed. One Thursday in mid-October, I came home early. I had forgotten my laptop charger and needed it for the morning. I texted her that I was coming back, but she did not answer. When I opened the door around 3 in the afternoon, I heard her in the bedroom on a video call. The door was slightly open. Her voice was soft and playful. "Oh my God, stop," she said, laughing. You are so bad. I froze in the hallway. No, seriously, Gregory, she went on. You cannot say things like that at work. Someone is going to hear you. My stomach tightened. I know, she said, her voice dropping. I cannot wait either. Tonight is going to be fun. There was a pause. Okay, I will see you tonight. Yeah, wear that cologne I like. A second later, she came out of the room, scrolling on her phone. She jumped when she saw me. Jesus, you scared me. When did you get home? Just now, I said. Forgot my charger. She pointed to the desk. I picked it up and left without another word. That night she texted at 7 that she was working late and not to wait up. She came home after 1 in the morning. I pretended to be asleep. At this point, my mind already knew the truth. I was just waiting for proof strong enough that I would stop arguing with myself. On a Tuesday night in early November, when she texted at 8 to say she would be late again, I finally broke. I drove to her office. The building was mostly dark. The parking lot was almost empty. I parked across the street and waited, feeling ridiculous and sick at the same time. Around 9:45, she came out with a man who had to be Gregory. Mid-40s, tall, tailored suit, expensive watch, salt and pepper hair. They were laughing as they walked to his black BMW. They got in his car together. He drove. I followed from a distance. They went to a wine bar in Cherry Creek, a place that looked expensive even from outside. I parked down the block and watched them through the big front windows. For almost 2 hours I sat in my car. They sat close. They leaned in. They laughed. At one point he reached across the table and took her hand. She did not pull away. I did not go in. I did not confront them. I just watched. Around midnight they came out. They stood by his car talking. Then he leaned in and kissed her. Not a quick goodbye, a long, lingering kiss. His hand on the small of her back, drawing her closer. Her arms went around his neck. My chest felt tight. My hands shook when I started the car. I drove home in a daze. I do not remember half the drive. When she got home around 1:30, I was sitting on the couch in the dark. Hey, she said, dropping her purse. You still up? Yeah, she walked over while looking at her phone. Everything okay? Where were you tonight? I asked. She frowned. Work, I told you. Daniel, what is this? I am just asking where you were, she sighed. I was with Gregory and some clients. We had dinner. It ran late. You know how these things go. Clients, I repeated. What were their names? She blinked and finally looked up. What? The clients, what were their names? Her face hardened. Why are you interrogating me? Because you are lying, I said quietly. I saw you get into his car, I saw you at the wine bar, I saw him kiss you, you kissed him back. She stared at me for a moment, mouth slightly open, then her face twisted. You followed me, she said, her voice rising. You actually followed me. Are you serious right now? She did not address the kiss. She attacked the fact that he looked. She said I had followed her like a stalker because she was working late and building a career. I told her again that I had seen her with him. So what if I was? She snapped. Maybe I have been spending time with someone who appreciates me, someone who is successful, someone who is not sitting in a dead-end job making excuses for why he cannot afford a nicer apartment or a better car. Then she said it. You are poor yourself, she said, her voice cold. And you are jealous of successful men. That is why you do not want me to stay with my boss and make progress. You cannot stand that someone like Gregory sees my potential and is willing to invest in me. You just want to keep me small, stuck in this mediocre life you built. Sometimes the mask comes off in one sentence. This was that sentence. I did not respond. My throat felt tight. I picked up my keys and walked out. She did not try to stop me. I drove to my friend Brian's place. He and his wife Sarah let me crash on their couch. In the morning, over eggs and toast, I told them everything. Brian shook his head. Sarah squeezed my hand and said I deserved better, and that Veronica had shown me exactly who she was. They were right. I believed them because I had already seen it with my own eyes. That was when I made a decision. I went back to the apartment while Veronica was at work. I packed a small bag of my own clothes and my laptop. Then I sat at the kitchen table and opened my computer. A few weeks earlier, when Veronica had asked me to set up her work email on her personal laptop so she could work from home, I had noticed how weak her company's security setup was. Out of professional habit and growing suspicion, I had already paid attention to some of the traffic coming through our network. What I had found was months of emails between her and Gregory. Some were about work, many were not. There were messages about hotel rooms at the Ritz-Carlton and a boutique place in Boulder, messages about weekend trips to Aspen she had called team-building retreats, messages that said things like "Daniel does not need to know, and we will figure it out." There were photos, her in a hotel robe, him visible in the mirror behind her. Nothing you would want your boss sending to your work address. And there was one email that stood out. Gregory clearly saying he would expense one of their trips under a client account so the company would pay for it, even though it was personal. Misuse of company funds, plain and simple. I saved everything. Email threads, headers, screenshots, anything that showed context. Then I wrote one email to the HR director and copied the legal department. I laid out that there appeared to be an inappropriate relationship between a manager and a direct report and clear misuse of company money. I attached all the evidence and noted that the originals retained metadata. I read it 3 times. My cursor hovered over the send button. This was not about revenge anymore. It was about telling the company what their senior staff were doing with their money and power. Then I clicked send. 2 days later, on a Thursday afternoon, Veronica called me 17 times in a row. I let the phone ring. Around 6, she showed up at Brian's place, pounding on the door. Brian looked at me. I nodded for him to open it. She looked wrecked. Red eyes, smeared mascara, hair pulled back, work clothes rumpled. "What did you do?" she asked, voice shaking. "I sent HR the truth," I said. "You ruined my life," she shouted. "They fired me. They fired Gregory. They are talking about charges against him for embezzlement. His wife found out. She is divorcing him. Do you understand what you have done?" "Yes," I said, "I do." "Why would you do this to me? I loved you." "No," I said. "You loved what I gave you, stability, rent, someone to come home to when Gregory was with his wife." She shook her head, sobbing. She said she had made a mistake, that this was too far, that I had destroyed her career and reputation. I told her she had destroyed those herself. I had just refused to help her hide and would end things with Gregory, move back in, fix it, do anything. She said she loved me and had been confused and manipulated. But there is a point where the apology comes after the choice, not before it. I told her it was too late. I told her I was done. She stood there sobbing, but I did not move. I did not comfort her. After a minute, she left. I have not seen her since. 3 weeks later, a mutual friend told me Veronica had moved back in with her parents in Cincinnati. She was working at a coffee shop while looking for a new marketing job, but the termination on her record made interviews hard. Gregory was fired and facing a civil lawsuit from the company for misusing around $18,000 in funds. His wife filed for divorce 2 days after the story broke. Last I heard, he was calling himself a freelance consultant online. As for me, I am still in Denver, still in my apartment, still driving my Honda. I do not feel like I won. I do not feel proud of how messy it all was. Mostly I feel tired and relieved, because in the end I realized something simple. I would rather be called poor and keep my integrity than be rich on someone else's lies. Last week, I adopted a dog from a rescue. A golden retriever mix. I named him Baxter, just like we had joked about. Except now he is mine, and the life I am building around him is mine too. Lesson 1. When a partner responds to simple questions with anger and insults, they are telling you more about their honesty than their stress level. Lesson 2. Calling you jealous or poor to shut down concerns about cheating is financial shaming and deflection, not ambition. Lesson 3. A boss who blurs lines with an employee and uses company money for secret trips is not helping their career. They are risking it. Lesson 4. You are allowed to walk away the moment someone shows you that success to them means stepping on ethics and on you. Lesson 5. Exposing the truth may feel harsh in the moment, but sometimes it is the only way to stop people from abusing power and trust. Lesson 6. Stability and self-respect are worth more in the long run than flashy titles and expensive dinners built on lies. What do you think Daniel should have done the first time he saw the red flags? Would you have sent the evidence to HR, or would you have handled it another way?